Welcome to the Measure Success podcast, where I talk with top leaders about effective strategies that inspire success. This episode is brought to you by 40 Accounting. It's our new sister company, the one stop for all your accounting essentials, whether you need to get your books in orders, your tax filed, or you actually want to figure out what does the future look like. Reach out to 40accounting.com. Really excited to have with us Idan Shpizear. He is really special human being. And we had him on the $4 million strategies. Here we are on the Measure Success podcast now. He's the founder and CEO of 911 Restoration. As you probably can figure out what that is, it's a leading disaster restoration franchise in the US. He's also a prominent entrepreneur and business leader known for transforming small business into successful enterprises through perseverance, ingenuity, and strategic business sense. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. He has a podcast, features Secrets to Success. He has a really interesting background in early life in terms of being in the military and career beginnings. And he also has multiple other companies in terms of being invested in, from software, etc. But Idan, let's hit into the fun side of, we talked about this, and it was because it was on your mind. It's been on my mind lately too. First of all, Idan, welcome to the Measure Success podcast.
Thank you very much. And I'm excited to be here with you and looking forward to this conversation, see where it's going to take us.
Yeah. So what I was left hanging there before the passing on to Don is we're going to talk about belief today. And what does belief mean? Belief mean in this context, we're talking about for business owners, for people who are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, for those who are a business person right now and they're trying to get to the next level. Often it's our own mind that is preventing us to getting to the next level. And Idan here is one of the most, once again, we can measure in so many different ways, but truly a successful person. I asked you before this podcast, Don, do you ever have doubts?
Absolutely. Things coming up all the time.
That's right.
Yeah. It's the awareness of the doubt, right? So, but the thing is that at this point, I'm not getting lost in the doubt, right? So I'm not buying into the stories that the mind now is telling us, right? Because the mind keep creating expectation. The mind wants a sense of security. So the mind, when things are not really happening the way we want them to happen, the mind now is creating doubts and fear and coming up with different reasons why it's not going to work and why it's his fault or their fault, that that's the reason. Of course, it's coming up, but I'm not getting lost in it. At this point, just life and being through so many things and developing a deep level of awareness, you recognize that a doubt comes in. And you can get even an insight from the doubt as what part in me is reacting to my experience right now without getting lost in it. And I think that is a big part, because expecting doubts not to come up, I think hopefully at one level it will happen. But being more fair with ourselves is like, yes, doubts will come up, fear will come up. I will have different emotions that will come up in me because I'm going to experience different things at different time. But I'm aware. I have a stronger sense of conviction. So I'm not buying into the thoughts that keep coming up or the different emotion that keep trying to pull me to a certain thing. So in a way, I'm like, okay, I'm aware of my mind, I'm aware of my emotion, but I'm driving the ship.
I'm going to share with you something kind of funny. I don't normally do this, bring in my family stuff into the podcast, but just an example of weakness. So I'm very intentionally trying to stop a few habits, at least for a period of time. And one of them is I'm trying not to drink any coffee right now, no alcohol right now, and no shakes. That's one of my big weak spots. I love an Oreo shake. Okay. What did I just write to my wife this moment of weakness? I want a coffee, a cinnamon roll, and a big Oreo shake right now. Now, partly though is I had to name that weakness, right? Like what was going on in my head? I had a name that I had this weakness. I honestly just had to complain about it for a moment. I'm fine. I'm not gonna break through that. But until you create those habits of learning how to overcome your self-doubt, like just what you said, you have these doubts, but you've trained yourself how to overcome them, to name that problem, to name that weakness. I was mentioning beforehand, Idan, is I reintroduced myself because I thank you, Jason Duncan of the Extra Club. He said, Carl, he gave us all a gift of Think and Grow Rich, and he goes, oh, this is probably worthwhile to read again. And I've really gotten to wealth with this again. And, and once again, for those Think and Grow Rich, it just like it is one of so much of business books is built on that original book from Napoleon Hill that was written back in the 30s. It was released in I think 1937 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it talks about this concept of you need to have the belief, the strong belief, to get you, in this case, to grow rich or whatever rich, how you define rich, right? To get to that outcome. So part of what brought us to this is you were saying, I'm running into, in my challenges, I'm running into people you're working with in your business line, business and other franchisees, et cetera, where they're wanting to quit. They're wanting to give up. They feel like there's too much and they just can't overcome the challenges, or maybe it's hiring employees, maybe it's challenges at home, maybe it's making sure the business is profitable, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, when you're guiding and talking with the people you're working with, how do you help walk them through that journey of overcoming these obstacles?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is two layers to it from my experience. One is I want to bring out of them again why they're in the business. Why did they start this business? What was their dream? Right? Because very often we start a business and we have this dream. We have something that is very exciting, that we feel it in our body. It's in our mind. It's in our body. It's everywhere. Right? It's drive. It's strong. It's good. It's powerful, and it comes from the inside. And at one point, life happens, and we're starting to give up on things, and this not going to work, and this not going to happen. And what we do is we take this dream, we take this feeling, and we just push it aside. It's probably not going to happen. No, life is that, and this what's happened, and I cannot find the right people in my town, and this is not going to work, and here and there, right? We come up with these excuses. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring it back out. So I will be even a little bit annoying sometimes. It's like, no, I want to hear it. Like, tell me what. Okay, Dan, I wanted to achieve X. I'm like, you know what? With all the respect, I don't hear it yet. I want to hear it. Because, when somebody talks about his thing, you see he's lighting up a little bit. Now you see the energy. I feel the conviction in his voice. Now I know we're back there. Okay, so now when we look at the same problem from the perspective that I got back this energy, now the problem is not as big as was 10 minutes ago. Because now your frequency is much higher. So I look at a lot of things as frequencies, right? And it's very easy. When you feel happy and joy and open, somebody can come to you and says, listen, I just dropped this thing on the floor and it's a big mess. Like, I'm fine. It's okay. We're going to clean it up, right? It's not a big deal. But if you're down and you're miserable and somebody just drops something on the floor and it's a big mess, it's the end of the world. Because you're in a lower frequency. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring them back up. Because I want them to look at the problem from that perspective, from the high frequency perspective. So that's the first step. The second step is I see problem as a reflection of something that we hold inside of us. So I see problem as a teacher, as an opportunity for us to get an insight of what's really going on with us. So now I'm shifting. So first of all, high frequency. The second thing, let's look at a problem. But let's look at it not being lost in the problem. Let's step out of it a little bit. And let's see really what's going on. Many times it's not many times, it's all the time. It's the way that we are interacting with everything around us. And then the result of it is we see it as a problem, right? And I can give example. I think that will help maybe drive it home. So I spoke with a franchisee, it's been a while now, and he's like, Idan, my team is very negative. I'm losing people all the time. This is very, very hard. You don't understand. It's my town. It's the area that I live in. That's the issue. I cannot build a big business here. Now, I know that this one is the story that he's telling me, but I know that this is not truth. I'm sure there is other people that build very nice businesses in his town, probably right by his business, right? So first of all, we did this thing. Okay, why you started the business? Let me get him to a point that he's elevated. Then I will ask him, okay, walk me through it. What do you do from the moment you wake up, go get into your car and drive to the office? Oh, Idan, enough. Listen, it's the problem is the town, the area that I'm in. I said, okay, just entertain me. Walk me through this thing. So we're talking, I get up, I read my newspaper, I drive to work, I stop to get a coffee, I get to my office. I say, okay, and what do you do then? I said, that's what I do. I walk in and I go to my warehouse and I'm pointing out to my team what is it that they don't do right. And then I go and I spend some time with my secretary and I'm telling her, listen, you're missing this and you didn't do that and you didn't follow up and you didn't send an email back. And that's really how I start my day every day. I want to make sure that I'm teaching them what is it that they're doing wrong.
Wow. So sorry, just a moment. That sounds like a fun person to work for.
Here you go. Exactly. So the only thing I did is I said, okay, can you stop for a second and just listen to what you just told me? And he sits there like, holy shit, it's me. I'm like, okay. You see, that moment he gained his own insight. I didn't need to tell him anything. I just made something that he's not aware of because for him, he's just lost in the story of his mind. That's how I'm teaching people. Probably I can go back to his childhood and the way that his parents or his environment keep pointing out what he's doing wrong. So for him, that's how I work with people. He's not even aware of it. So I just brought it back to the surface. The moment that he got his own insight, I call it, it's me. And I can fix it. I didn't even need to teach him how to fix it. It's so clear. 2 weeks after he calls me, like, Idan, you don't understand, my business has changed. The environment, the attitude in my business, it's completely different. What changed? I start pointing out what works well. I didn't tell him to point out what works well. The only thing that I did is I brought it up to his attention. And I have many examples. And it's in all of us, right? It's in all of us. If we don't have awareness, we just get lost to the stream of thoughts in our head, right? And if we touch a little bit more on belief, right? So belief is a great thing, right? I want to believe that I'm going to be able to live this lifestyle, that I'm going to be able to have this impact. But at one point, this belief need to transform into knowing. Because belief is something that is also outside of me, that I not fully understand yet, that I'm hoping that will happen. That is a great way to start. But at one point, the belief need to transform into knowing. And the way transform into knowing now is become our own wisdom, we own it. Right? And the way it's happening is by awareness. And as we go through life, now I don't need to believe that I'm going to be able to get to this point. Because I know I've been through a hard time. I was able to go through it. I gain new perspective. I met new people. At one point, there is a certain knowing in me. I know I got it. It's just clear to me, right? And this is where, just going to add that part, this is where certainty over logic come in. That I'm so certain that I'm going to hear all the stories of my mind and all the logic and the reasoning, but I know. That's where my hope, that's the same work that I do with myself. I'm just with awareness. Make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but I'm curious, Adon, and I know you've heard this probably more than once. That sounds great, Adon, but you've already made it, right? see I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So how do you help, once again, you gave a good example, just frankly, thank you for providing a specific example. But on the show, on the podcast, I want to be careful with how, I'm going to actually be pretty clear with it. There are those who have, I love to ask them the question, how you measure success in your personal life, because how they answer that question is almost always of whether they feel like they've achieved a certain amount of prosperity where they have freedom, which is behind you as we're, talking, you have freedom, right? Freedom is ultimately what really people talk about. But before you get to freedom, people don't talk about that. They talk about a dollar amount. And I think what they're referring to a dollar amount is freedom, right?
Yeah.
What they're really trying to get to. But until they get to there, they're focused on the money, right?
Yeah.
They're focused on getting to the outcome. And so I could tell often from guests whether they've made that or not based on their words and based on their saying how they're getting toward what really matters to them. It's really fascinating. I've had a billionaire on the show beforehand who said the only thing that matters is one of the most important things in his life measuring success is walking his daughter to school each day, right? That was his measure of success. And once again, I don't want to judge people, and I have no problem with people becoming billion trillionaires if that's right. I'm not saying that. My point is this, is that, but when people haven't arrived yet, once again, there's so much uncertainty. So how do you help that? What do you deal with that when somebody says, well, Idan, you don't know. How do you respond when people go there?
Look, my journey started with really nothing, right? Nothing and tons of limitation. What helped me be more successful financially is really understanding and experiencing the space between me and my thoughts and all the noise and everything. That's for me is freedom. I recognize that I believed strongly that something external will give me the freedom. I believe that if I'm going to make money, I'm going to be free. If I'm going to be able to do that, I'm going to be free. And at one point during my process, early, I had nothing. And at one point, seriously, at one point, I had even a crash. So I climbed a little bit, I did good, and then everything just real estate, everything just basically crashed. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, there's more things in play here. Because I'm noticing my behavior and I'm seeing that there is more in play. And then I start looking at, then my inner work really started. And then it was many moments, right? As I'm going through all this mess and everything that is happening. And then I recognize, wait, I believe that once this is going to happen, I'm going to be free. When this is going to happen, I'm going to have more value. And I recognize there's no truth in it. It's not real. It's a made of idea by society in general that what success look like. And if you want to be successful, if you want to be a person of value, first you need to achieve that, and then you're going to have value. That means that we keep always taking our value and we're putting it aside. And I'm going to run. I'm going to get to the top of the mountain, and then I'm going to have value. I just recognize that we're basically discounting ourselves. We're putting ourselves down. We're not really celebrating our uniqueness. Everything is based on external result, based on approval of others. But if you're able to, for a moment at a time, just step out of it again and again and again, you're going to start playing the game from a different perspective. You're going to start recognizing your uniqueness, your innate abilities. You're going to build them into skills, but you're going to have the freedom and the creativity before, not after.
Yeah.
And then we operate from a different place. Now, can I give somebody all that explanation when he's really trying to pay rent tomorrow? No, right? It's like Idan, it's like the same thing is, let's say I really have to go to the bathroom and I'm walking to pee, right? I cannot stop that person and says, I want to talk to you now about the biggest thing that will change your life. He's going to be, listen, get out of my way. I have to go to the bathroom, right? So when somebody have to pay rent, it's kind of the same thing. I need to make $1,000, Idan. I don't have time for this thing. I get it. Then I'll be practical with them, right? I'll go very practical. What is it are you doing? Are you really working? Are you really utilizing your abilities? Are you really aware of what is it that you're doing? Do you even have a North Star? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a very small thing. So I'll be that, because when somebody let's put the knowing aside for a second. We can go back to believe. Do you really believe that you're going to be able to make $1,000 by the end of the month? Are you actually taking the right steps every day to get closer to what is it that you want to get? Because there's many of us, we want to achieve one, But what we do every day is something that is not even aligned with what is it that we want to achieve. So what do we do with them is I'll simplify it. Okay, so in whatever you do every day, you can make, let's say, $100 per sale. I'll go, how many people do you need to talk to make $100? I need to talk to 10 people. Okay, so to make $1,000, this is how many people you need to talk to. Are you making the right activities every day to make sure that you're talking to enough people to make enough $100 to be able to pay rent at the end of the month? Just bring more clarity to that part. And then I say, okay, now the next layer. If you're able to grow the amount of people and you achieve that by the end of this month, can we double it now? Which part in this process are you really good at and which part are you not really good at? How many more do you need to sell every month to be able to bring somebody to help you? Right? So I can start very practical, just make sure that there's alignment. But at one point, he's going to start building his own belief. Oh, wait a second. Do it. Yeah.
I literally just had that conversation with the client just yesterday, which was, let's get to the basics, right? Let's, because first of all, great example, I think, where you're talking through that, because there is, first of all, two things. One is there is that principle of belief and freedom, which is regardless of what's in your bank account, right? Some of the most happiest people in the world has nothing to do with money, right? And that's been proven from data from countries around the world, right? It's like, so let's get over that. And then there's that other point of, you only need what, I don't know, 65, 85,000. I don't know where the numbers are right now in terms of annual salary to be able to have, quote unquote, to get to quote unquote happiness, right?
Yeah.
Where meaning you overcome, because you're on that point of when you can't pay your rent, right? That's scary, right? When you can't pay the basic bills, you're past due on your credit cards or whatever it might be. Those are scary times for people, and I acknowledge that, right? That's scary stuff. But these can be achieved, right? These are all things that there's more than enough data and information out there to overcome, and tackling things one at a time, right? Don't try to all of a sudden go from 20,000 in debt to $1 million worth, right? In a moment, it's like, let's tackle one thing at a time to start having some success, creating that belief. One of the things, a recent guest, Ken Rusk, who wrote Blue Collar Cash, what he has his employees do is they write on a board that's in front of everybody their big goal. So for some of them, it might be traveling to Europe for the first time, or it might be, buying their first home, or it might be, there's whatever it is, they put it out there, but it's an intentional, constant effort of tracking people's success towards that goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that has nothing to do with work directly.
Yeah.
But indirectly, he has wildly loyal employees.
Yeah.
Right? Because he created something for them that they care about, that they're striving about, and they recognize that the work is a means to the end of hitting what they're trying to accomplish. And these are blue collar jobs I'm talking about.
Yeah. 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 Look, 80% of it, I think it's really the sense of clarity that you have, the mindset that you have. It's not, I mean, I see it, my franchisees and people that I know, some people, you'll give them a stick and they will figure out how to build a house. Some people, I'm going to give them all the materials to build a house, but they're going to sit there and I'm going to start tomorrow. Right? So what you see is so much is the sense of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Right? This reminder, even simple as, even with my customer service team, we had a meeting as a company meeting a while ago, and I went by department and I asked them, tell me, what is it that you do? And the customer service says, look, the phone ring, I pick up the phone call, I take the information, I send it to our franchisee, and then you go there and do the work. I just answer the phone. That's the only thing I do. I said, okay, let's now look at it from a different perspective. There's somebody that just went through an emotional disaster. Their house is on fire or mold or something really big happened to them. You're the first person he gets to talk to. He's scared. the way you're going to talk to him going to have a huge impact on the next hour or day in his life. And then not only that, you're about to help him calm down and get him to feel that we got him. You're going to bring some sense of security to him. And then you're going to connect him, not just to a franchisee, to somebody that is going to go out there to him and bring him the fresh start mentality and continue and do what you just did for him over the phone. And you guys know we get people that call us and they're crying and screaming and stuff because they're really going through an emotional disaster. The moment that I see it, that I say it, and the customer service rep take it and integrate it in his body, you need to see it goes from here to, oh wow, that's what I do. Ooh, I have an important job. The only thing I did, I changed the perspective. And they look at themselves differently. Right? It's the same thing as when you work for somebody. Do I just get lost in the everyday task, or I'm seeing the bigger picture? That task that I'm doing right now, I'm going to be able to send my kids to college. Now there's a different meaning to it.
Right.
Now, if it's a hard day or a good day or a bad day or a hard task or not, I remember why I'm doing it and the impact that I'm having in the team that I'm part of. It's the same thing, I think there was a big research on it. The moment that a police officer or a firefighter or somebody that is in the military, the moment that they put the uniform on, the chemical mix in their body shift. Now they carry themselves. Now I have a mission that I'm on. I'm doing something that is bigger than just myself here with a small me, just doing this task. Now I'm here, I'm out there, I'm responsible for other people's life. Frequency goes up. Right? So go back to what you said, make complete sense. Simple thing. I mean, people are not really. So one of the things that I did with some of the business owner and some of my franchisees, when you run a business, kind of going back to what you talked earlier about, when you run a business many times, it's like, okay, I'm zero, I need to pay payroll, I'm at zero again, now I'm paying that, I'm at zero again, all that, right? You're doing this back and forth. People don't recognize how exhausting it is and how it's really impacting their mental abilities and how much energy are you really just spending or just trying to hold things together. So I did this thing with a few guys, and I said, listen, starting right now, your zero at the bank is $5,000. There's no more zero at the real zero. Your zero is 5,000. Your goal this month is to get to the point that you're 5,000, and you cannot get lower than 5,000 anymore. So the same way that you act when you get to zero, now you're going to act that way when you get to 5. So they're going through the first month, they get to the point that they're getting to 5. I said, don't go to Home Depot, don't buy extra material, don't pay, I don't care, don't pay any, get to 5,000. And then for 5,000, I'm getting to 10,000. This worry goes away, it goes out now. They don't have the same worry. What people reports back is, I'm becoming more creative now. I was able to grow my business. I said, why? Because I got you out. I didn't do it. I just suggested the idea. He did it himself, but he got himself out from the survival mentality. That's the same thing going to the place that paying rent, paying my bills. Like, just focus on get yourself out. Right? I spoke with a guy the other week. He's starting this new thing, and he's like, I want to go and I want to make $50,000 a month. Like, how much are you making today? 3,000. I said, okay, what about just getting to 6,000 as a start? Just get to 6. Keep the 50 in front of you, but just get to 6. This is double. Your mindset, all these past 5 years, it's a mindset of 3,000 a month. You're a thermostat that are aligned to 3,000 a month. It's going to be very hard for you. You're going to give up on your dream really fast. I prefer you to go from 3 to 4. Get comfortable. Go 4 to 5, get more comfortable. Then go from 6 to 12. Your nerve system now is going to be ready for it.
I think that's a really great example of something that's not often talked about, which is when people get to a new pay scale, there's 2 really important things that need to happen. One is you need to believe you're worth it. People will sabotage themselves. They'll freak out. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating thing. You get to something. I remember when I got my first luxury car, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be driving this. I had a hard time driving in this car that was a nicer vehicle. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel it was the right thing for me to do because that's not how I grew up. That's not how I came from. It's not how my dad was. It's like get an old used car and drive it forever. That was
Yeah.
his mentality, right? And so I had to like overcome all these pieces. And then the second thing that's not talked about enough is you got to hold your spending back,
Yeah.
right? One of the most common things is people get to that next level and they spend, and then they'll even spend more because they're like, oh, now they start liking the new things, the cars, the vacations or whatever, and next thing they know, they're actually in worse shape than when they were only making $3,000.
Yeah.
And so those two pieces are important. Once again, we're going back to the mind, right? These are important mind changes we have to make when we get to there to
Yeah.
believing that you're worth it. And then also, yes, you're worth it, but you shouldn't necessarily spend it there because you can be broke and making $1 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's big ones. Big ones. One of the things that kind of sent me on my inner journey, as I described earlier in the conversation, is exactly that. I try to break through a different ceiling. So I was able to grow pretty fast to 70, 80,000 a year, push to 100, got back to 70. I said, you know what? I'm just going to work harder. That's how I'm going to solve it. I didn't really think about it as a ceiling, or I didn't have the awareness that I have today. I just like, why can I just break through it? I opened another business. I created a partnership. I went to do that. I killed myself. Going a little bit up, back to the same. A little bit up, back to the same. That's the moment for me that I was like, okay, there's something else here running the game. There is my monkey mind that go, but I know there is something else here that I'm not aware of that keep holding me. That's really what got me through this journey, is recognizing exactly that. And then the moment that I recognize the anchors, the beliefs that you described, the shame and I don't deserve it, and how can I make more than my family, and how can it be that my dad been working for so many years and now I'm making more? Now I'm not aware of this inner conversation. That's why developing awareness, I think, is one of the most important things. But once you bring some awareness to it and you see it like, whoa, okay. It's like I have 40 anchors are tying from my hip to the floor and I'm trying to jump up and like, no, where are you going? We're holding you. You're not going anywhere. But when you start seeing it, like, okay, so let me do some work around here. Let me bring some awareness to it. And once you release it, then it's not so much how hard I'm going to work. It just, as you said, I'm just operating from a different conscious, to a different awareness. I guess I'm not operating from the same awareness anymore. Yeah, that's such a big one. That's really what's. I mean, I understand today that it happened for me, and I'm so thankful it happened. So I want to be stuck there for the rest of my life. But it's a big one. That's why I'm big on awareness. I think that's being aware. Like if you go back to the people that trying to pay rent, right, and they just keep bashing their head against the wall again, and then they become victim, and it's because of that. It's the rich people on the world, it's the government, it's the taxes. What they do is you just keep making themselves smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're just going to work harder and harder and harder. And now you got somebody that is a victim and is working harder. It's not zero awareness. There's a lot of hate that is a much lower frequency, and that you just get stuck in this cycle. Yeah, so that's why awareness is a big one. And the spending is a very interesting thing that you brought up. I mean, especially here in LA, it's we see people driving cars that is, I think the monthly payment is $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and they're sleeping in a one-bedroom apartment. It's like, what are you doing, right? That's I think. I mean, I think a lot of it is the I want to be welcome. I want to be accepted by external. I want other people to think that I'm successful. I need other people approval. This is such a big trap to fall into.
That's for sure.
If for one moment we understand that the same way that you are busy with what people think about you, the other people also busy what you think about them. So nobody at the end of the day really think about you. We all thinking about ourselves,
That's right.
right? We see how do I feel based on you coming into mine, right? So the moment that people are developing more insight into, oh, they don't really think about me. They're not even really seeing me. They're seeing me through their own idea of who I'm supposed to be. So when you get enough insight into it, this is where you start finding more freedom.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Now we're getting that point. I got to ask a few of our final questions here as we wrap up. One is we've been talking about it quite a bit, and let's just talk about just quickly on the business side. How do you now measure success in your business?
In the business is, I want to see, look, with the franchisees is easy, right? I want to see our franchisees being very successful. I want them to be able to find fulfillment and financial success, right? I think that one of the painful things that can happen to all of us is climb to the top of the mountain, work hard, spend 30, 40 years, get to the top and saying, why it's still empty? This sucks. I did all this work. Nice, I have it, but inside, because I still need to live with myself. I still need to live with the noise in here. Making a lot of money doesn't take the noise away, right? So my hope is for them to find financial success and fulfillment, right? And I really want it for our entire team. That's really the fresh start mentality. That's this big spiritual part that goes into our culture, is really seeing how can we create an organization that really help people find financial success and fulfillment overall. Our team, our franchisees, everybody that we interact with. And of course, look, we're a business. We want to keep growing. We want to make a bigger impact. We want to grow by X amount of franchisees. We have a very clear goals. We have a very clear, very clear system. We have a great team in place. Me and Miri, she's our CEO. We've been working together for 20 years. She brings very clear processes and clarity and great spirit and the thing into the business. So we want to build something that is really impactful, right? It's, for me, it's very clear that business exists to add value.
Yep. Yep.
Period.
Yep. I like that.
I just want to make sure that we're adding value. One of the reasons that I like to come, and be on a podcast is I want to bring that sense of, first of all, don't cancel your uniqueness. That is your gift. That is your gift to give me. So if I'm not celebrating my uniqueness and bringing my perspective to the conversation, that's something that I'm holding from you. The same way that if you're not bringing your gift to me, you're holding from me, right? So celebrating that uniqueness and see that we're really approaching life and business from a place of, let go of all this nonsense of society for a second. Go within you. What is it that you want to do? What is it that gets you all excited? So I'm hoping, my goal is to be that organization that really keeps celebrating it. So that, for me, the way I'm viewing the business side.
What's one habit that you do that has really helped you, especially in the past few years, help you continue the growth and continue the success of what you're doing?
Awareness is a big one. I'm a human being thing. I'm giving you a little bit of a longer answers here. The simple answer is one of the habit that I adopted about 2 years ago, that it's seriously amazing. There's two things that I do. One is, as soon as I get off my bed in the morning, I dance for 1 minute.
That's awesome.
This is life changing. So that's one. The second thing is, every morning when I open the faucet for water, right before I wash my face in the morning, I go and I stand in front of the faucet and I'm acting like I don't know if the water is going to come out today, yes or no. I don't know. And I'm acting and I'm doing it every morning and it's amazing. So I'm standing there and I'm turning the water on and I'm like, wow, creating that sense of excitement. So I'm starting my day with this sense of excitement and curiosity, and doesn't matter what time I went to sleep, where I'm sleeping, I'm home, at friends and place, wherever I am, every morning.
So, Don, I have done over 200 of these podcasts, Measure Success podcasts, and nearly every guest I ask them this question, and nobody has ever said they dance for a minute, and nobody's ever said they're celebrating the water coming out of their faucet. That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So now, you got a few more minutes. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So other question for you is on your personal life. How do you measuring success now?
The Wow, it's really the depth of relationship. The with my kids, with my wife, the depth of relationship. That's really, and I'm saying it, and I feel my body's.
Mm,
Yeah, that's for me. It's big because, and that's come from a lot of awareness, right? But when sometimes you spend a minute or two, it doesn't have to be an hour with your daughter, with sons, with your wife, and there's this moments of like, wow, okay, if God takes me away right now, I feel complete
mm,
because it's the depth of it, right? I think the wealth of life is our ability to really experience life. That's really the wealth of life. I can give you as much as you want from everything. But if you're going to keep being lost in your head and maybe in the future or the past, you're never really here. You're not. You're just busy in here. I mean, I can put everything around you, everything that you can dream of, but you're gonna be busy with what's missing, what is not there. It's too much. It's not too much. But wait a second. Did I earn it? I didn't earn it. What's my purpose? What the thing? I'm supposed to be there. Why I'm here? We're not really here. So I think the real wealth of life is our ability to deeply experience, to really be with the person that we are with. You go on a hike, be really in the hike. Like when you look at stuff, really be there. Like people in the past, there was a lot of conversation about balance. How can I balance work and this and I for my thing is like forget about balance. Think about presence. Because I can spend 2 hours with my kids and I'll be busy and I'm looking at my phone and I'm not really listening to them, so I'm not really there. Or I can be 5 minutes and just be there, right? So the way I'm looking at my life, the way my morning stuff and evening, well, I'll sit kind of with myself at the end of the day. I'm like, okay, how did I do today? Was I really present when I talked to my son, or I was out there thinking about other stuff? When I'm sitting with my wife, as I'm really there with her, I'm feeling, I'm listening, I'm there, or not? Because I know that doesn't matter where I think I'm going to be or where I came from and all the story of building and success and all that, if I cannot really be there for those moments, then what? How
okay.
do I really enjoy it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great, wonderful answer. What is a book perhaps you've read recently or perhaps a long time ago that was really changed the way you look at life?
Wow. There's books in Kabbalah. So Kabbalah is it's a spiritual book that really goes deep into reality, our thinking, our mind, our really give a lot of depth into what make our experience. And that's something that I can read again and again and again because as you're look at it from different perspective, you get more depth. That was one of the book that really starting to open my mind into, well, okay, there is layers here, there is different perspective, there is the part that you are reflecting back to me myself. There is this, we're not, the moment that you understand that you are not a coincidence, the moment that you understand that there you are here, you are part of this beautiful thing that called life, that you are just because you are everything and part of it and all of it and whatever you want to call it, that thing start change my, I'm like, okay, wow, let me go a little bit deeper here. Let me understand. That really start open up more awareness, deeper understanding. I know I'm keep repeating it. Awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moment that you are starting to be more aware, you understand that you are aware of your operating system and you can really only be who you are. You cannot, you can, our thinking, we don't really understand who we are. We can only be who we are. The moment that that book helped me see that, I'm like, okay, this is the only thing I want to practice is awareness.
Somebody shared with me beforehand, Dan Mewmax, he was a good mentor of mine for many years, and he said the concept of the difference of being and doing, right? And there is a difference, and it's hard. I still sometimes myself have a hard time grasping, it, but it's true. There's this being of who we are, and then there's what we do, and understanding the difference, and when they're congruent is when I actually think there's real peace,
Yes.
right? When there's congruence between our being side and our doing side. When those are off is typically when something's not working
Yeah.
in one way, shape, or another. So I think that's a really valuable piece. Idan, how can people connect and learn more about what you're doing?
So for the franchise opportunity, if somebody interested to learn more, 911restorationfranchise.com. I'm more active on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
I don't have a big following or anything like that. I just love to be out here and share it and connect with people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this has been fantastic. I appreciate the depth that you've had in today's conversation. Idan, thank you so much for being a part of the Metastats podcast today.
Thank you for having me. This was great. I really enjoyed our conversation.
And please hang on. I got a gift. Okay. So don't hang up. And we wrap this up here in a moment. So to everyone who is listening, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. It's such, I love strategy. You guys know this is why, I love to do strategy and execution. But if you don't believe in who you are and you don't believe in what you're doing, it's so hard to get that strategy to be executed and to fulfill where you want to be. And I hope you've heard the stories today that Idan shared, which have been fantastic, real personal experiences, but also how he's coached other people through the process as well. And this is real. That's the fun thing. These are solvable problems, folks. We can overcome them no matter what stage you're at. Right? You can get to whatever next stage you need to get to measuring your success in your life. That's ultimately where we're trying to get to. So as we always like to say, wishing you the very best at measuring your success. Have a great day.